All right, we might get started. So I'd like to firstly welcome everybody to Sturt University at Wagga. The sun is shining. It was a pretty bleak morning this morning, so those that weren't around this morning, but it's a fantastic afternoon, so a little chilly outside. So welcome to our Sustainable Packaging Innovation Challenge program. And it's the summation of a wonderful 3-month journey that some of our teams have been on, from the very first foundations of identifying the challenge program and challenge topics through to this pitch event today. Welcome to the online community. We have an extensive online community dialing in, and to those that have turned up directly and are joining us in the room, thank you very much for attending in person. We probably will have a few latecomers, including Michael McCormick, who will be one of our presenters during the day. He's been a little bit unfortunately delayed, so we'll have a bit of a shuffle to our agenda, but Mark will manage that as we go along. I'd like to start by inviting Auntie Mary to the stage, who's going to do a welcome to country. Thank you, Auntie Mary.
You're Marung, everyone. That's good day in Wiradjuri. So thanks for inviting me to do a welcome to country for you today. Just a little bit about myself. I am a proud Wiradjuri Ngunnawal elder. I've got 14 grannies and 2 great grannies, and I love to hear about things like this because we need to know what the future is for them. So just listen to these fellas over here talking about their little ventures, which was great. One does the stuff with the grapes, and I said, yeah, well, I like to drink the grapes, so that's okay. But it is nice to, it is important to look after and care for our country, because if we don't look after it and care for it, it won't care for us. It's always giving to us, so we need to be mindful of that and always looking after and caring for our country. We can't keep taking from country and not expect something to be sick. So I like the idea of a challenge where people are challenged to come up with solutions and a better way. So I might be hanging around a little bit and listening to some things, what you've got planned for that. It sounds exciting. And it is important to perform my welcome to country on the lands of the traditional people where you are today, the Wiradjuri people, and the people that are out there in Cyberland. Hello from beautiful Wagga Wiradjuri country, which is the place, Uncle Stan tells us, of many celebrations and dance. So I think we do a bit of that in Wagga as well. So Mundangu, and welcome to you all. I am a proud Wiradjuri Ngunnawal elder. Every time, and I have been given permission by my elders to welcome you to country. There is a process around a person doing a welcome to country. It's not just about, you can do a welcome to country. You have to be given that permission by your elders to do that. I'd like to acknowledge the people that are here and have also organised all this great evening today, and hope that you have a good time. Every time a formal welcome to country is given, it continues a tradition that has always been a part of Aboriginal culture. It was always given by the way of welcome when permission was granted to visit different tribal areas. When we talk about traditional country, we mean something beyond the dictionary definition of the word. For us, we might mean our homeland, or tribal or clan area, and we mean more than just a place on the map. For us, country is a word for all the values, places, resources, stories, and cultural obligations associated with that area and its features. It describes the entirety of our ancestral domains. It is on this land that my ancestors cared, lived, learned and raised their families, and I think we cultivated and looked after this country for a very long time as well. I acknowledge and pay my respects to my elders, both past, present and of the future. I extend that respect to any other Aboriginal people who may be present today. I also extend that respect and acknowledge our non-Aboriginal brothers and sisters that walk with us every day on this true journey of reconciliation, that we become together as one in this country. All of Australia is sacred country. We need to walk on it gently and care for it. Up on the hill up here, where I sort of done a little detour and got lost, if they would have said this place before, up on Yinjamara Hill, we have a great respect. Wiradjuri have a word called Yinjamara, which is to have respect for yourself, have respect for others, and have respect for everything around you. So we need to be doing that when we're thinking about caring and looking after for each other. Mandangu, I hope you have a great afternoon and evening, and looking forward to seeing what you may be coming up with those challenges. Mandangu, thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Wiradjuri country.
Thank you, Auntie Mary, for that inspiring welcome to country. And I think very appropriate that we talk about caring for country when we start to think and talk about sustainable packaging and what the future looks like. And so very excited to hear some of the great ideas that are going to come forward from our teams that are presenting today. Charles Sturt University has had a proud history of supporting the agricultural sector, and as Australia's largest educator of undergraduates in agricultural and environmental science, we're certainly very privileged to be able to host an event like today, to bring together so many of the agricultural sector, both in the room today but also online, and to enable us to explore what a future world of sustainable packaging looks like. Managing waste from packaging from our valuable agri-food products is a major issue. What we set about in representing from today's outcomes with the pictures is to understand what solutions might be out there to help solve one of the greatest challenges that the environment and industry and consumers face in managing the excess of packaging that exists in the marketplace today, and how we can develop more sustainable uses, more sustainable materials, and more sustainable systems to manage that packaging, either in reducing it or actually being able to recycle and to reuse the packaging that's used today. We're very excited to actually launch this inaugural challenge program. So this is the first for the university in running such a public open challenge program. And we're extremely excited that we've got a great array of teams from both Australia and internationally joining us, some of which are presenting online. We're certainly also excited that in having these 8 teams come and present today, that we're also going to be able to support them on their journey, both through winners and the other participants in the program, and support them as they evolve their technologies and connect into the industry. This is an important process for us in bringing the outside world into CSU and to enable us to connect the important agricultural ecosystem in a physical and virtual way, and to do that with a foundation around trying to identify solutions to a wicked problem of sustainable packaging in a future for our environment, for our communities, and to look after the land that we've inherited and that we're living in and managing and supporting. We can't do this without our partners and contributors. So we identified 3 important thematic areas in which to focus our efforts around the challenge program in the sectors of meat, wine and fresh produce. And we can't deliver a program like this without our supporters and stakeholders, the judges who Mark will introduce to you shortly, but most importantly MLA, Wine Australia and Planet Ark, who have been critical all the way through this journey of developing our concept, developing the challenges and supporting the teams in their development of their pitches for today's event. We also have a huge thank you to the curators that have been involved so far and the organisations supporting our packaging challenge. APCO, Coles Liquor, Boomerang Labs, Unpack, Accolade Wines and Endeavour Drinks. Without our stakeholders and our partners, we don't have the opportunity to bring communities together and, most importantly, support these emerging technologies and teams that are going to be presenting today. Throughout the day, you'll see the Slido app QR code come up on the screen, which is just coming up now. We encourage you to load your questions in, pass any comments, any feedbacks. Certainly we're going to make this information available to our teams as well, because it's really important that they learn from your experiences both online and in the room today. So we encourage you to be part of the Slido program today. So please, where possible, download the QR code and get ready and logged in, and you'll get further instructions as we progress through the day. We also can't do this without our core partner in this program, the growth drivers. And David, one of the principals of the growth drivers, is in the room today. The team have done a fantastic job in navigating a very complex process. It was the first time for the university to run such an event and activity, and it's a hugely important topic. And to actually have teams from both Australia and international presenting today is, I think, a real testament to the way that the growth drivers have taken their approach to bringing the best of Australia and the world to CSU today to help us as a community solve creating a world with sustainable packaging. I hereby open challenge, ask Mark Bourne, our Director of Wine Strategy in Australia at CSU, to come up and progress with the next session. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Nick. So as Nick has mentioned, events like the Sustainable Packaging Innovation Challenge do not just happen without the support of organisations and people. And to kick the challenge showcase session off today, it's my pleasure to introduce one of those key supporters from Coles Liquor, Shay Courtney. Shay's the National Quality and Sustainability Manager, and he's joining us online today. Welcome, Shay.
Thanks very much, Mark. Great to be here.
Thanks, Shay. So tell us, Shay, what excites you from this challenge and today's showcase?
Well, I think the most exciting piece for me and for a company like ours is where you can combine both a product that is commercially viable and one that meets a number of sustainability objectives. And I think if you look across the board at a bewildering array of sustainability buzzwords, the core piece for us and for me is that we can deliver products that are available, readily available and accessible to everyone, that help us meet our commercial objectives, but that those commercial objectives are not mutually exclusive to the sustainability objectives that we are all aligned to. So I think that's probably the most exciting overarching piece from this afternoon.
So I know Coles is fairly progressive in their sustainability measures. What are some of the initiatives that Coles has taken on board already?
Well, we have a net zero by 2050 objective, and I think if I spend a bit of time on what that actually means, it's really more than just what Coles is doing. It's really a partnership with our supplier base, and that's the case for every large retailer, not only in Australia but around the world. If you look at our contemporaries in the UK and Europe, the work that we do is actually dependent on the work that our suppliers do. So if you look at what our scope 3 emissions, there are suppliers scope 1 and 2. Those emissions are actually 90% of our emissions. So when you look at our store network and all of our supply chain and so on, then 90% of our emissions are actually our suppliers' emissions, which is perhaps the biggest opportunity, but also the biggest challenge, because we have to work with suppliers, of which we have 8,000 across the broader organisation, and we have to help them to help us deliver against that net zero ambition. And we're no different. Every large retailer that is similar in nature to ours, both here and overseas, would have similar numbers. So it's a partnership, and I think that's the context which we need to keep in mind, is that yes, there is a commercial objective here, but critically, sustainability needs to be something that all companies, particularly large companies who can really help shift the dial in this area, can really get behind.
So Shay, you talked about some of those partners, and there's many of them with Coles Liquor. What are some of the challenges that you and your supplier partners have faced on this sustainability journey you're on with them?
Well, I think if you look at packaging, and I think that's a good place to start, then really there are commercial dynamics there are market dynamics which can challenge the way that more sustainable products are supplied into the market. So a major challenge for us is the availability of recycled, reprocessed material when we look at things like increasing the recycled content in all forms of packaging. So we've got very high recycled content in material, particularly PET, plastic bottles and things like that, but you don't see an awful lot of plastic bottles in alcohol retailing, and there's a variety of reasons for that. But if you look at the average glass bottle, the typical recycled content in that glass bottle would be at best 50 or 60%. There are some products that are higher than that, but that's a good sort of average across the board. So the availability of materials for higher recycled content is a real challenge. The other challenge in packaging is, I know this will be of great interest to everyone who's listening today, is the design component. So we're very good at designing products that look great and are appealing to consumers and that sell very well. And sometimes that is not great for our sustainability. So if I look at what we call highly embellished packaging types, they look great, but they contain materials that aren't readily recyclable. So we're on a journey to phase those out. So right across our private label and exclusive brands, we're simplifying and improving the recyclability so that we meet the national packaging targets of 100% recyclable, 50% minimum recycled content, and to phase out problematic packaging that can't be readily recyclable.
So, as one of the big retail sort of giants in Australia, Coles Liquor, explain to us what some of those key pillars are for sustainability for Coles Liquor and their partners and their suppliers.
Well, for us, we've refocused our efforts on sustainability, and I think if you look at the economic environment, which is very challenging at the moment, and how our customers are responding to that requires us to look at what will make a difference to them when they visit us in store. And it is easy for companies of all sizes to pursue sustainability in a very broad manner. And I think if you look at what really makes a difference to the customer, then that is price and the range of products we offer. And so for us, that means refocusing on sustainability strategy on the product itself and on what we offer the customer. And that's in a way that's where our sustainability efforts should fundamentally exist. So if I look at the work that we're doing, we're focused on the bottle, the packaging itself, and the sourcing, what's inside the bottle. So I touched on some of the things that we're doing to improve packaging simplification, greater recycled content, lightweighting. I think it's also important to look at what goes inside the bottle, the liquid itself. And so there are opportunities there for producers to help us meet our net zero ambitions and help signal to the customer who's in store looking at buying a particular product that those products are more sustainable than others. So there are opportunities there, but the squarely focused on the product and how we signal to the customer. And a big part of that is the availability of material and clean waste streams. So everyone has already seen that CDS, container deposit schemes, are being rolled out, and Victoria and Tasmania are the sort of two remaining jurisdictions where we now have a CDS in Victoria. We will have a CDS in Tasmania by the end of the year. Those schemes will generate more clean material for companies who supply retailers such as Coles Liquor to increase those recycled content levels, which is a good thing.
Thank you, Shay. I think Shay's provided a really good framework and sort of platform to kick off today's showcase event. We'll come back to Shay during the break. He'll be running a bit of an online Q&A session for those people joining us remotely today. And impeccably timed today. At this stage, I'd like everyone to welcome to the stage to say a few words. A long-time supporter of the Australian agriculture, the Riverina region, which this event is being held today, and also Charles Sturt University, the Honourable Michael McCormack, MP for the Riverina.
Oh, that big introduction. I was sort of thinking, maybe it's not me they want up there. Maybe it's somebody who really knows what he's talking about. But look, fantastic to be here, and thanks to Sam Beresford for the invitation. I noticed that you've just had somebody from Coles. I know there's a lot of backwards and forwards going on at the moment about supermarkets and their supply chains and what they're doing and who they're paying and how much they're paying, etc., etc. I can remember when I was the small business minister and Coles took me down to Melbourne to showcase all of their smaller providers, and it really opened my eyes up to the fact that our national supermarkets do provide opportunities for those providers, for those suppliers, for those growers that they otherwise would not have. And indeed, but for Coles and Woolies, and to a lesser extent, I suppose, the IGAs and the Foodworks who are on a national scale, those people who do put their stock on the shelves at the big supermarkets would only be trading through farmer markets, would only be trading through small-time operations in their home localities. But Coles and Woolies gave them the opportunity to scale up, to go national, and and I do credit them for that. You're here about national packaging and innovation and making sure that we can do more with less, and that's fantastic. You are in one of the great food bowls of Australia, and we grow everything here. We produce, we supply, but let me tell you, being able to package that and being able to sustain that fresh produce for longer, whether it's on the shelves, whether it's in transportation, whatever the case might be, is going to be something that is going to be so crucial in the future, because we live in a constrained environment where there's going to be less water available for producers in the Murray-Darling Basin. They've got to do more with less. When they get their produce, when they get into their packing sheds, they want to be able to have it to be properly packaged and then sent off to the markets. Now, if they can do that and pay less money for it, if they can do that and get more storage life out of it, then that's the name of the game. And I congratulate Charles Sturt University for putting on this showcase, this hackathon, for whatever else you'd like to call it, and providing also tens of thousands of dollars, $75,000 as I understand, for the very best and brightest ideas. So that gives you all very much the incentive to be able to put forward your ideas. And because the spark of an idea at a conference such as this could well be the best idea that comes out of Australia this year as far as agriculture is concerned. And when you look at what's happening in the field of agriculture at the moment, we're stopping live exports of animals. And so more of those animals, all of those animals, are going to have to be processed in Australia. How do we get those sheep from Western Australia around the rest of the country for domestic supply? Indeed, if there are going to be future markets grown overseas, and I don't necessarily endorse the policy, by the way, but if we are going to box it and chill it and send it overseas, what sort of packaging innovation is going to be necessary for those entrepreneurs who are in that industry to be able to sell their wares and to be able to market them and sell them overseas? They're all the sorts of questions that are going to be hopefully answered by people in this room and other hackathons like it. So I do thank you. Agriculture, there's money to be made in agriculture, there truly is, and I attend many of these sorts of seminars and these sorts of gatherings. I'm attending another one this weekend where our party's actually coming to Wagga Wagga, to Charles Sturt University indeed, to meet for our annual state conference. And I know agriculture is going to be very much at the forefront of our discussions, how we enhance agriculture, how we do things better. And it's the bright minds, bright young minds of people in this room and in other universities. That's why the federal government's investing in the Agri Park. That's why we're investing in the Southern Drought Hub, the Adaptation Hub, the Adoption Hub, the Innovation Hub. It's all about making sure that these rural centres, that the industry is resilient to the future, and it's producing the sorts of entrepreneurial ideas and the innovation that is going to make agriculture even bigger and better in the future. So well done. Thank you for coming to Wagga Wagga. How many of you are actually from the Riverina? About 50%. How many of you are from interstate? Quite a few. Well, thank you. And how many of you are from overseas? None. Okay. But thank you for coming to Wagga Wagga. Please have a look around if you can. Make sure that you sample the wines. I'm told up the back that they're the best part of today's seminar. I'm kidding, but they are very, very good, the wines around here. Enjoy everything that Wagga Wagga has to offer, and please tell others when you leave about what a good place it is to visit. And if you have a really good idea, please share it. It's easy to find me on various social, I'd love to hear social media channels. I'd love to hear about the sorts of ideas that you've got that could indeed well improve policy making and those sorts of things, because politicians are only as good as what people tell us and what the ideas that are coming out of these sorts of gatherings, these sorts of meetings. So welcome to Charles Sturt University. Congratulations to Sam and her team for putting on this wonderful conference, and safe travels back to wherever you need to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. So that leads us to what we're all here for today, the showcase. The Sustainable Packaging Challenge has actually been in progress for 3 months. It all started with engaging with the fresh food, meat, beverage and retail sectors to define the challenges around sustainable packaging use and uptake. This was followed by a global tech scan and a call out for expressions of interest to address the following 3 challenges put forward by the industry. Challenge 1 was the development of packaging solutions designed to minimise the carbon footprint at each stage of their life cycle. Challenge 2, seeking innovations applicable across the industry that improve capturing the value of packaging after its first use. And challenge 3, the creation of novel packaging products and formats that are environmentally sustainable and appeal to emerging consumer markets. All the applications then went through an innovation sprint and a curation process, supported by experts in the fields of food and beverage production, freight, transport and packaging, export and domestic retail, as well as research, development and innovation. And we've ended up here today with 8 finalists that will present their pitches to the judges and the audience online in this showcase. So I'm pleased to announce that the 8 finalists we'll be seeing today are Orthotic, Biopoles, Bio, Pack to Earth, Pacamama, Biotic, Zero Tag, and Edible Cutlery. It's also my privilege today to introduce the judges who'll be joining me. They'll be assessing each finalist. I'm going to ask the judges to stand up and give everyone a wave and turn around and face the camera today so the people online can see us. There's Sandra Dalmasso, the Head of Packaging Transformation at the Australian Packaging Covenant and Organisation. Welcome. Adam Cully, the Deputy CEO of Planet Arc. Alicia Waddington, the Project Manager for Market and Supply Channel at Meat and Livestock Australia. Anna Drokolski, the Director of Commercialisation Pathways at Charles Sturt University. And Jay Jayaswaran, the Business Development Manager at Wine Australia. Thank you. Also chairing the judging panel will be Nick Padgett, the Executive Director of AgriPark here at CSU. Now the finalists today will be joining us both here live on a sunny but crisp day here in Wagga, but also they'll be joining us online from their company bases across the world. Each finalist will have 5 minutes to present their pitch to the audience and judges, and if time permits after the pitch, we may be able to have a question from the judges as well. After all the 8 pitches, the judges will convene to assess the finalists for approximately 30 minutes. The pitches will be assessed on the following criteria: their environmental impact, the scalability and market potential, their technical viability, their economic viability, and their team capability. Now, during this break, for those joining us here in person, there will be a chance to network with all the other participants, and we will serve some refreshments. For those joining us online, don't move too far away from your screen. We have a live summary and Q&A session hosted by Shay Courtney from Coles Liquor and Joe Palmer, the Director of Innovation at Charles Sturt University. So whether you're here in person or joining us online, you can provide your feedback through the Slido platform. So the QR code now is up on the screen. So if you haven't already, please initiate to take part in today's event by clicking on the QR code. I just want to remind everyone, please be respectful on the platforms today. The teams presenting today have put a lot of effort to get to this stage and also to present to us today. So let's kick the proceedings off, and I want to introduce the first finalist today. The first finalist is Orthotic, and they'll be pitching to us in person, live here today. Please welcome to the stage the co-founder Ahmed. Thank you.
Hello, I'm the lead coding scientist at Orthotic, and I'm here to talk about sustainable paper packaging solutions. So as we're all well aware, packaging waste is destroying our planet, the bulk of this being plastic-based packaging. There's an accelerated move towards paper-based packaging. This is due to consumer-driven as well as emerging regulations. Paper is attractive because it is the most recycled municipal waste in the world. However, paper requires a functional barrier coating to improve its properties, and most current packaging coating solutions aren't recyclable or compostable. The solution to this is Orthotic's BioBark product, which is a bio-based water-resistant coating for paper and packaging. The global market for paper and packaging is about 500 billion Australian dollars. Of this, about 13.4 billion of the serviceable market for functional coating barriers for paper. I just want to talk to you about the life cycle of lignin. Lignin is the third most abundant biopolymer in the world. It is actually a waste product from the paper making industry. Most of it is actually currently burnt or landfilled, with several thousand tons burnt or landfilled every single day. Oh. I think we're having a technical issue. Yep, thank you. However, at Orthotic, we're able to utilize this lignin waste stream to generate our functional coating barrier. We can use this to then coat paper provided to customers where it is fully compostable at home and recyclable right back to the paper pulp, eliminating this waste stream and utilizing it. The key attributes of our product are that it is 100% bio-based, fully repulpable, recyclable. It's also compostable at home, and we're awaiting certification for this. It's water resistant, provides increased strength, oil and grease resistance. It's PFAS free and volatile organic content free. We find application in cold chain, particularly meat and medical, as a binder in construction and building products. It's also a potential replacement for expanded polystyrene boxes in fresh produce, as well as improved wet strength of paper bags. And upon obtaining our food contact certification, applications in the food service industry. We have a sustainable building model. We've already isolated and identified abundant renewable materials all around the world. Where there's paper making, there's lignin, we can utilize it. We also are direct drop-in. We don't require any fancy new coating lines, any new technology. We can just run on any commercial line. Therefore, we're also CapEx light because we can utilize third-party manufacturers all around the world as close to our customers as possible. We offer a business-to-business model, so we can sell coating liquid to companies who have their own coating lines, who have their own paper substrates, or for other companies that don't, we can coat reels for them at third-party manufacturers and provide it directly to them. So how do we compare to our competitors? So most coatings currently are plastic, non-recyclable, non-compostable. There are other bio-based coatings such as PLAs. However, PLAs, they show poor recyclability compared to our product, which is fully recyclable and fully compostable. So just an update on our current status. We have a research and development facility in Brisbane. We also have manufactured 6 tons of our product at scale on the commercial lines, and we've coated over 50,000 square meters of paper. We've also gone through the full corrugation process as well. We've been granted a patent portfolio in 8 different countries, which we are continuing to expand as well. And we are engaged with over 85 companies all around the world. We have a diverse team ranging from PhD-trained chemists as well as experts in sales, strategy, and innovation. We also have senior coating scientists, advisors with several decades of experience. So why am I here? We are looking for help with validation trials, particularly with cold chain. So these are field tests. We also require university partnerships for new products and certification, particularly the food contact certification. And we're also looking for scaling partners for production here in Australia. So please join us in creating a better sustainable future. Thanks very much, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Ahmed. We might have time for one question from the judges. Jay.
Okay. Audible? Yeah. Can you explain your supply chain, because you're dependent on the paper industry to supply your feedstock?
Yeah, so we're dependent upon lignin from the paper industry. However, there's absolutely no shortage of lignin. It's found most countries generate their own paper lignin, and we can obtain it for each specific market, for example.
But the cost of transportation is your biggest killer, isn't it?
Yes, for lignin, absolutely, transportation is the cost. So we work to try to source it as locally as possible and manufacture it as locally as possible. For example, in the US, we use US lignins, sourced ideally from within the same state that we're going to manufacture in as well, minimizing the transport costs.
Thank you. Round of applause for Ahmed. Thank you, from Orthotic. Our next pitch is from Biopols, and presenting today online today is the CEO, Sena Tarim. Welcome. Please give a warm welcome to Sena.
Okay, good morning from Turkey, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges and fellow innovators. My name is Sena, and I'm an organic chemist specialized in antimicrobial polymers. Today, I will talk about replacing the need for plastics and harsh chemicals in grapes. So imagine a world where grapevines are resilient against common fungal diseases and smoke taint, where vineyards thrive sustainably, and where every glass of wine tells a story of quality and environmental sustainability. So that's the world we envision with Biopols coating solutions. Okay, yeah, sorry. Why did not pass? Technical issue, sorry. Yeah, okay. So the wine industry in Australia faces numerous challenges, such as climate-induced disasters, floods, and wildfires that causes fungal diseases such as downy mildew, powdery mildew, or smoke taint. And these issues not only threaten the livelihoods of winers, but also compromise the quality and sustainability of wine production. So let's go with an example. Okay. And so in the Murray Valley region, the wine grape production, for example, is declined by 100,000 tons in 2023 when compared to the last 5-year average, and this results in 60 million in losses. So clearly, we need a solution that addresses these issues head on. So with our proprietary technology, the first thing we do is that we cultivate a certain type of mold on food and agricultural waste, and then we extract a biopolymer called chitosan from this biomass that has antimicrobial and antioxidant activities, and compared to its crustacean-based alternative, it has much lower carbon impact, and it is vegan. So then we turn this into a coating solution that can be easily applied with the same spray pumps that are used for foliar feeding. And with 1 liter, you can cover 5 to 8 meters square surface area. So this makes coating approximately 10 kilograms of grapes. And our coating solutions extend the shelf life. They're completely biodegradable, home compostable. If you want to eat it, you can. If you do not, you can simply wash it off with water. We already tried it with different fruits and vegetables. Here you see our lab trial results with tomatoes and avocados. We have also tried it as proof of concept and pilot study with blueberries, pomegranates, and citrus as well. So our solution has 2 modes of actions. For smoke taint, the chitosan solution makes a barrier on the berry itself. And with the chitosan matrix, it actually holds on to the volatile phenols that does not pass through the grape itself and does not taint its taste. And it's very easy to get rid of it. And in terms of antifungal active protection, the chitosan again has the ability to detect any mold or bacteria that is present and kills them and then inhibits its growth, basically. Oops, wrong direction. Yeah, so we are competing with well-known solutions of antifungal chemicals and also process aids and wax-based coatings, basically, that are helpful to protect. But we offer a dual action protection and an easy application, both pre and post harvest, and an easy removal for the wine production, basically. So the data says that 1.7 million tons of grapes are being produced. So if we coat all grapes in Australia, this means that we have the potential to reach a market cap of $1.4 billion. And we believe that this business has a great potential as the driving factors affect in our favor. So this is our team. We are a team of 3 currently. We are looking for a new food engineer, and we also have a great academic and business advisory board that helps us improving our business. And we are looking for proof of concept and pilot collaborations and mentorship to discover regulations in the Australian market. We believe that our solution is a good fit for this market and we can create great impact. So thank you for listening, and please join us for our journey to become the global leader in food preservation technologies. I'm looking forward to hear your questions.
Thank you, Sana. I think we've got one question from the judging panel. Anna.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. Can I ask my favourite thing, what is your IP situation? What's your IP protection?
We already applied for our waste upcycling process and our bioreactor design. We have a special bioreactor design for IP protection, but we are also filing a new IP in the upcoming weeks, I think, for our newest version 2 formulation.
So composition of matter for your formulation.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Good to hear. Thank you.
Thanks, Anna. Another round of applause for Sana. Our third pitch today is from Bio, and they'll be also joining us online. And pitching today is the co-founder of Bio, Hua Trin. Please welcome Hua.
Can you hear me now? Mm-hmm. Hi, everyone. My name is Hachi, as introduced, and I'm from Bio. Together with me today, joining online, also Hank Do is our other co-founder and CEO. As we all know, that's how a plastic bottle look like. But how about a story behind it? Every day, 1.5 billion of a plastic bottle are placed on the market, used, disposed, and end up in the landfill or in the ocean. But only 10% of those can be recycled. 90% still stay in the environment for more than 500 years. Each bottle contains 240,000 of nanoplastic and more than 100 harmful chemicals. Though forever chemicals are known to be linked to health issues such as infertility, endocrine disruptions, and also cancer. Government around the world are facing banning single-use plastic. Also, major corporate are phasing out plastic in their supply chain. Both macro policy and corporate ESG agenda are creating opportunity for bioplastic. The size of the market is expected to grow exponentially in the coming year, as recycling alone cannot address the plastic pollution at root cause. At Bio, we are a deep tech company. We convert the bio-waste, which is abundant in Vietnam, from agricultural residues. The common bio-waste that we use is brewer spent grain used in breweries, and also cassava pulp in agricultural food processing. We convert the bio-waste into either flexible or rigid packaging. We own 2 patented technology, including the biofermentation and also material engineering technology to convert bio-waste into valuable biomaterial, which is bio-based and biodegradable, to use to serve for many sectors, such as packaging, medicals, textiles, and also cosmetic. And we develop our biomaterial into various products for consumer goods, industries, and biomaterial applications. We believe that sustainability and profitability can go together. Our products are made from bio-waste, which is not fossil fuel-based or starch-based. So we save both energy and food security. Our products are biodegradable within 1 year in the natural conditions. We produce low carbon footprints and also very cost competitive compared to other bio alternatives. We are recognized worldwide globally. We won the championship at PixFest in Vietnam in 2023. We are the first startup from the Southeast Asia to be selected in the global 100 plus accelerator to work with MNCs such as AB InBev, Coca-Cola, Unilever, and Colgate-Palmolive. We were also selected as one of the top waste management technology by the Singaporean government, and many other prizes, as you can see. Our team possesses of of complementary skills from both serial entrepreneur and leading scientists in biotech and material science. We also back up of our advisory board, which who are dedicated many years of experiences in the global leading role to support sustainability. We currently operate manufacturers capacity of 10 tons per month in South Vietnam. Within a short journey of 2 years, we were able to create firm partnership with MNCs such as AB InBev, Mondelez, Unilever, Ferrero to develop the products. And also we have distributors around the world to help us to go to serve for the global market. We have raised $750,000, and we currently have a factory of 10 tons with scaling up to 10 times by the end of next year. We also have 3 patents in the pipeline. This year, we plan for a pre-A round by Q3 this year, and also to hit 1 million revenue by the end of the years. Each day living in a world of abundance, material possession. And can we do together abundance of care? I think a showcase here at CSU today showed the care from all of you, from regulator, from the consumer, and also industries. And we seek for investor, partner, or R&D research institution to together with us to work on R&D and to scale up our solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think we've got a question from one of our judges, Jay.
My question is regarding the comparison of costs to conventional plastics. Can you elaborate on that, please?
And so, as you know, conventional plastic have been used universally and are very popular. We actually our cost of price, our price is about equivalent or maybe similar to the price of other alternative materials such as paper-based packagings or cassava, sugarcane-based packaging, and about I think 20 to 30% higher than the conventional packaging plastic from plastic.
Thank you. Another round of applause for Bio. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. The fourth presentation today is also joining us online, and I'm pleased to welcome the CEO of Pack to Earth. Please give a warm Wagga welcome to Francois de Valera Rose. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. I'm Francoise, co-founder and CEO of Pack to Earth. We're a Barcelona-based impact company, and we specialized in making robust materials from plants and minerals to replace contaminating plastic. And as you can see from all the logos on screen, we've been very fortunate to receive a number of awards and also a lot of support from the European Union. In fact, we have EIT Food, which is one of the entities funded by the EU in our cap table. And I think we can all agree that when it comes to plastic, change is essential because 72% of plastic ends up in landfill or in the great outdoors, and 91% of plastic is not recycled. Now, we know that governments are imposing more regulations and taxation to limit the use of fossil-based plastics and single-use plastics. And we've heard that in Australia, over 100 million Australian dollars per annum in extra taxation is going to be levied on wine bottles. Now, we know that a lot of corporations are opting to try and solve this problem by using recycled plastic. But of course, you can't make 100% of packaging from the 9% of the plastic that is recycled. It just doesn't add up. And us as consumers, it turns out that we are actually willing to pay a little bit more for sustainable alternatives. So what does Pack to Earth actually do? Well, we've developed the first materials that are suitable for packaging long life products, whether they're dry, semi-liquid, or liquid. And these materials compost quickly almost anywhere they end up because they compost at ambient temperature. Ideally, they should be discarded in the green organic waste bins. But even if they end up somewhere they shouldn't, like as litter outdoors or in landfill, they are still going to compost in a short time frame. And under EU legislation, these materials are considered organically recyclable. So they contribute to recyclability targets. And at the end of their life cycle, they leave behind no toxins and no microplastics. More specifically, we have two materials today. We have a flexible film and an injection material. And as I mentioned, these materials are designed to package long shelf life products. And that's thanks to the high barriers to water vapor, to oxygen, and to grease in the materials. Of course, they're suitable for food contact, and they also seal together. So you can either make single material packaging like sachets or multi-material packaging like a rigid tray with a flexible lid. And very importantly, you do not need any new machinery to make or to use our materials. Our business model is to license our intellectual property, so our formulations, to the packaging manufacturers. That means that our materials can be made in Australia under license. And we're in pilots with over 25 companies, including 4 of the world's largest FMCGs. Now, this is an enormous market. So as you would expect, we definitely have some competition. Apart from petroleum plastics, we have competition from industrial compostable materials like PLA. But the trouble with that kind of material is that you have to compost them in an industrial plant at high temperatures. So if they end up in the great outdoors or in landfill, they're not going to compost in a short time frame. And then we have some competition in terms of other companies that do have materials that compost at ambient temperature. But as I mentioned, no one else has been able to package particularly semi-liquids and liquids with a long shelf life. And we're achieving shelf lives of over 12 months. We're a team of 8 people, and the R&D team, the R&D part of the team is by far the biggest and most important part of the team. As I mentioned right at the beginning, we're an impact company. So consequently, we have impact targets. We aim to replace 50,000 metric tons of contaminating plastic with our materials by 2029. So why are we here? Well, there are some opportunities to use our materials in their current form with some of the people in the audience today. So for example, we can currently make injected trays. We can make injected glasses or cups that can actually be rewashed up to 200 times before they're composted. We can make doy packs and sachets, interleavers for ham and cheese. So a lot of different applications. But we're also working on some new innovations, including a thermoforming version of our injection material and a blow molding version to make bottles. And on the subject of bottles, a key ask for being here today is we would love to work with the Australian wine industry to fast track the development of our blow molding grade of material so that we can make a compostable wine bottle and cap for Australian wines. And we hope that that will help to significantly reduce your tax bills on drinks containers. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Francois. I think we've got a question. Adam.
Hi, hi, Francois. Thank you very much for the presentation. How do the physical properties of your product compare to plastics if it's home compostable? Are there any limitations?
There are some limitations. So, for example, in the case of our flexible film, you can't pasteurize it. You can sterilize it using other methods, but you can't pasteurize it. In the case of the injection material, it's actually very, very robust. When people see it, they can't believe it's not plastic. It performs in a very similar way to plastic, and it also, you can even use the same molds that are used for polypropylene to produce all the different kinds of items. You get the same cycle rate. So with the injection material, the properties are actually pretty similar.
And one more question from Jay.
How advanced are you in terms of developing a bottle?
Okay, well, so we're starting out from injection molding formulation. So that means that we're already quite a long way down the line. What we need to do is to add additional elasticity into that formulation so that we can use the blow molding technology to make the bottle. That's a project that's on our current timeline, it's going to take us between 12 and 18 months. We could significantly accelerate that with outside help and a little bit of extra cash to help us along the way, because as a startup, that's always what slows you down the most.
Round of applause for Pact to Earth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Francoise. Our fifth presentation today is from Pachamama, and they're joining us live on stage today here in Wagga. Please welcome to the stage Pachamama Sales and Sustainability Manager, Alex Adder.
The name Wagga Wagga, once translated as a place of many crows in the local Aboriginal language. In the wine industry, which is facing clear and present danger from global warming, this is a place of many, in fact too many, glass bottles. Hello everyone, I'm here with my colleague Hannah, and we're pleased to introduce to you Pachamama. Pachamama stands for Packaging Protecting Pachamama, or Mother Earth, and we supply the future of wine packaging today. So you may wonder, why did I start this presentation with an image of glass bottles? What's the problem? Well, glass bottles are 19th century product technology. They're heavy, they're fragile, and they're spatially inefficient. But most importantly, glass bottles account for up to 74% of wine's carbon emissions when combined with secondary packaging and transport. The wine industry needs sustainable packaging, and this is where Pachamama comes in. We supply better bottles. Bottles that are 84% lighter, weighing just 63 grams, but that are also 2 centimeters taller to stand out on retail shelves. Bottles that are strong and shatterproof. Oh, missed that one, sorry. Bottles that are flat to save space, achieving double in a pallet, but also reducing trucks off the road. And bottles that are strong and shatterproof, meaning no secondary packaging is required. But most importantly, bottles that cut wine's carbon footprint by over 50%. So let's go into the 3 pillars that define our packaging. Weight gets a lot of attention in the wine industry, but little attention gets addressed to space. We took the smart cross-section design of a round bottle and turned it flat. This means we can achieve double the amount of bottles on a pallet, and for consumers, more bottles in your fridge, and for those who love the great outdoors, never did a wine bottle fit so perfectly in your jeans back pocket. Secondly, we use what we believe is best-in-class material, recycled PET. So let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, we use a type of plastic, but not just any type of plastic. We use 100% Australian-produced recycled PET. Grouping all different types of plastics under one umbrella is really unhelpful. It's like calling all cars diesel cars. Glass is really energy-intensive to produce, recycle, and transport. But recycled PET offers one of the lowest emissions and allows us to produce a bottle that weighs only 63 grams. But we also use recycled PET because it's the most recycled type of plastic. And this defines our 3rd pillar here for our bottle. Our bottles are fully recyclable. No need to deconstruct the packaging. This is where we've done the hard work so the consumer life is easy. And we are also proud to be the first wine bottle, first wine bottle to be part of the container deposit schemes in certain states. Here you can see a wide range of different wine packaging alternatives and markets. The issue is that they are all mixed material. Our bottles are monomaterial. These packaging formats need a plastic liner to work, which can sometimes be problematic to recycling. But PET is also the only non-glass material that allows transparency. This means that consumers can see the beautiful color of the wine before purchase. We've shipped millions of products and collaborated with global leaders in the wine industry. Our bottles are manufactured by Visi in Victoria, and they are filled by Tamburlaine in Orange. A recent success I wanted to highlight was our collaboration with Aldi UK, where 2 Australian wines are performing great in our bottles. They are standing out from their competitors, and they are engaging shoppers, with TikTok Wendy calling it pure genius. So why is Pachamama here part of the Sustainable Packaging Challenge? Well, we want to make a bigger success in Australia, but we face the challenge of innovating in one of the most traditional industries. We've seen Australia leading the way with the innovation in screw cap, Now over 90% of wineries adopt it. It's time for the bottle to take the limelight, and we need your help to accelerate adoption. If you're a retailer, big or small, open your doors and talk to us. Let's collaborate. If you're a producer, try our bottles. Let's try our low emission bottles and be part of the change. If you're a consumer, vote with your wallet and buy alternatives to glass. And judges, vote for us. We have a solution that's market ready and ready to scale. The risk of inaction becomes far greater than planned and considered action. Thank you. Pacamama, Packaging Protecting Passion Mama.
Thank you, Alex. Do we have any questions? One down here from the judges. Anna.
Hello. I have another question about IP. How are you going to stop competitors nicking that beautiful design?
Thank you. Yeah, of course. So we've actually got IP protection over in 35 countries with over 287 designs, and we've already fought against IP protection in China, actually.
Well done. I might proffer a question there as well.
Of course.
Is the Pacamama bottle injection molding or is it blow molding?
So it's injection stretch blow molding, which is widely available technology used to date. We use that from a scalability perspective as well, considering our material choice.
Sounds like a bit of a synergy with one of our other presenters today. Jay, another question.
Have you considered biopolymers, and any of the other presenters today could actually be your partners?
Definitely. We were just thinking about that actually just then. Yeah, we are considering biopolymers. I think this is the point of Pacamama. We're an agile startup. To date, recycled PET is readily available. It's in circulation. And that is what we can use to actually meet the global volume of the wine industry. But we are looking at innovating in biodegradable materials, but also bio-PET made from bio-based materials. Once that's at a scale-up position where we can actually be price competitive to glass and offer a different alternative, that's what we look to do. Bio-PET is interesting. It's a drop-in solution that can be implemented in the recycling infrastructure today. You know, I think sometimes keeping material in circulation is just as valuable.
Round of applause for Pacamama. Thank you. Our sixth pitch today is joining us online, and it's Biotic. Please put your hands together and welcome Adi Goldman from Biotic.
Hello, everybody. Nice to be here. Great to be here. Biotic is here to provide a long-lasting solution to plastics with a very sustainable approach. Everybody spoke here about the environmental aspects of plastics, but it's been for a long time that it's already in our blood, in our systems. We drink plastics, microplastics, we eat it, and we breathe it. So we need to find a solution for the long term, and that will be able to give us a sustainable life. And that's what we are here to do. Biotic took an approach to go into the marine environment and use the widely available but not so used until now resource of marine biomass. Biotic is using algae or seaweeds from any type available anywhere in the world. This goes through a pre-treatment phase where we extract the sugars, the carbohydrates. We use the carbohydrates as feedstock for a microbial fermentation process where we have microorganisms that digest those sugars and produce a biopolymer as a future energy source for the microorganisms. This amazing polymer is called PHPV. It's part of the PHA family, fully biodegradable in any environment, and it's actually a copolymer that comprises of two units, and the ratio between them sets also the characteristics. So basically throughout one process using metabolic and process engineering, we can control whether it will be fit for rigid applications all the way to flexibles like nylons and fibers for textile, including of course food packaging. In addition to that, our process extract valuable byproducts from the marine biomass. We extract the proteins, lipids, pigments, and such, as well as from the fermentation side, we can extract additional biostimulants, animal feed, additional proteins, etc. So it's really looking into a circular approach, whereas we can replace a refinery with a full biorefinery, entering one process and extracting a huge amount of materials. In addition, our fermentation is done in seawater in order to reduce cost. Marine biomass doesn't compete with any arable land. It doesn't have any hazardous materials in it. The process itself incorporates full circularity, fully bio-based, and the product itself biodegrades in ocean environment, for example, within 28 days, leaving no microplastics, no harmful materials. When we look at competitive advantages, what we are targeting to achieve is cost parity to fossil-based plastics. Of course, the product itself is a plastic, is a thermoplast that can go into existing production line, already been tested on injection, on extrusion, even fiber making. There is wide applicability of it, like I mentioned, and it's CapEx and OpEx efficient. We've built our own vessels in order to reduce CapEx. There are almost no maintenance. The process itself is working continuously and in a non-sterile environment in order to incorporate that. Of course, for us, the Australian opportunity is wide. Only, the wheat cost to Australia about 5 billion Australian dollar every year, with major impact on the ecosystem, the waterways, and the agriculture. And the wheat biocontrol is a powerful tool to combat this, and our ability to use that is a huge advantage, with the ability to be local. Everything we do can be localized using local resources, etc. Our production, as I mentioned, can fit packaging, but which is the highest demand, and we are here for that. In the long term, we can also do home compliance, auto parts, provide our materials to alternative food industry, and of course, at some point, also collaborate with existing plastic production. We have a wide range of team skills that we are already using or incorporating in our team: polymer engineer, marine biologist, microbiologist, biotechnologist, mechanical engineers. It's really a wide, capable team that can take in the process. We are currently at pilot scale that you can see here, but we are in the next 2 months are going to scale to achieve capacities that will enable us inline production with existing customers. And we can collaborate with most, if not the vast majority of the presenters here, for many aspects, either additives, either pulp and paper, coating. So we are really ready to collaborate. It's our goal. We want to achieve the great target, not as a standalone company, but rather as a conglomerate, as an ecosystem. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Adi. I think we've got a short question from the judges panel.
Hey, Adi. How do you mine marine biomass?
There are few ways. I would say there are three major ones. One is naturally grown algae that are problematic to the environment. Australia can have that as well, but also the Caribbean, for example, with sargassum, it floods the ocean, reduces the cost of real estate, and it's been collected by governments with the goal to get rid of them. Now, there's not very good way to get rid of them because they self-ferment if you take them out of the water. So it's a problem that we can solve. The other one are farmers that are farming it for food, which has a huge amount of waste, anything from 20% to 80% that we've heard of. And we can use that, which will also reduce the cost of algae for food. And third is farmers that are going for industrialization. So aquaculture, from my standpoint, is the next agriculture, solution. We just don't have enough land in the global perspective. So these are the ways currently that we can do that. And I haven't mentioned one more thing, if I can. We can use any other types of sugars that can be fed. It's just that in the long term, we don't have enough agriculture sugar to support 400 million tons of plastic production.
And one final question, Alicia.
This is just to follow on from the bio, I guess it's the feedstock side of things. Have you considered the sustainable footprint on the process there, and has it been considered how you will be able to manage to continue to replenish as well as secure that feedstock?
Yeah, we're currently, so we've achieved the scoring for the B Corp. Unfortunately, we haven't got the certification yet, and we are going through a full ESG report that will be ready by the end of the year. In terms of the ecosystem, we've made a calculation according to what we are using now, which is not the most optimized. And in a global perspective, we will need to use about a tenth of Germany in order to supply 400 billion tons of plastics in the oceans. So you can imagine how small that is in the footprint. And algae are very fast growing. So we can harvest it every week to 4 weeks. So it's really a renewable energy. Done correctly, it's actually going to help us revive the oceans rather than affecting the ecosystem to the negative.
Round of applause for Biotic. Thank you, Adi. Our next pitch is from ZeroTag, and we're fortunate today that both co-founders of ZeroTag are here. Please give a welcome to Shimroth and Joseph.
Sorry. There. Okay. Hi, everyone. So I'm Joseph and this is Shimroth, and we're ZeroTag, the refill e-pantry, convenience while caring for the planet. Growing up, I saw people fishing in the sea of trash. Packaging makes up 70% of the 400 million tons of global marine litter. Refill is the best way to avoid packaging waste and to become a $43 billion industry thanks to online brands seeking a physical space in people's homes. But since a single container can have different products over time, knowing what you have and knowing what to buy becomes very inconvenient. This is why many refill brands aim for subscriptions. But people don't want to be locked in, and people want choice. We want to make a world where caring for the planet is the most convenient way to shop. This is why we made ZeroTag, a pantry app that links products to refill containers to manage restocking with one tap. So how does it work? Well, households can tag their refill containers with our smart stickers and link products to the tag. And when they're running low, they can scan the container to restock with one tap. And if they have a new product, they can copy-paste the product info onto the container, and now everyone in the household can see what's in the e-pantry and know when to use and buy. So manage your refills in one place, scan the container to quickly reorder, never run out without overbuying, and get the whole household involved. So when people, by bringing customers to the reorder page directly, we save our partners $5 per click on Google and $6 per click on Instagram. And by allowing people to start refilling without needing to buy an empty bottle, which sometimes retails for $15 at a 25% loss, we can get them to start refilling, and in exchange, we get 5 to 10% affiliate marketing fee. So onboarding is very easy, takes just about 10 minutes to start with, and we are tapping our networks and sustainability, reaching out on LinkedIn, and we'll be showcasing at the Zero Waste Festival that's upcoming. So, and for our competitors, well, you have subscriptions, which encourage overbuying, leading to taking up precious space at home and causing more waste. And unlike normal QR codes, a ZeroTag can be linked with different products, and a cart can be built across different products as they start running out. So for the market size, I'd like to give the mic to Shimroth.
Thank you. Thank you, Joseph. we have an amazing opportunity to disrupt the online independent grocery refillable market. We have broken into the Australian market, which is valued at $15 million and is projected to grow 25% annually in the next 5 years. We co-designed Zero Tag with retailers with our pilot at Sustainability Victoria and showed how this system saves time for in-store wine and kombucha refills. After getting seed funding and our app is now live, we've onboarded refill partners and we've started generating revenue. We have a proof of concept of AI text generation, text recognition, that will transform any refill container into a Zero Tag. Future funding will help us go global overnight, expand to new categories, and try new refill models like swappable bottles for wine. So we're a team of designers and engineers with a background with expertise in circular economy and smart packaging, and we have expertise in logistics and supply chain. So we're preparing for a pre-seed round in a few months, and we've also spoken with people from End Food Waste Australia who've agreed to match funding. Next week we're pitching at Taronga Zoo's Hatch Accelerator for $50,000. With this funding, we can also continue software development and work across more product categories and go global. We'd like to connect to angel investors and get warm introductions to brands like Koi. We'd also like to connect with mainstream brands to rethink packaging at home. So what if users can just scan a Makona jar, try a new flavor like caramel coffee, and have it shipped in compostable packaging instead of a refill packaging, instead of a heavy glass jar? So convenience while caring for the planet is in our hands and in our homes. Join us in disrupting single-use packaging with the future of retail, where Zero Tag, label anything, waste nothing.
Well done, thank you. Couple of questions. Sandra.
How much work have you done in the consumer behaviour? Because a lot of your platform is around consumer behaviour and consumers actually using the platform. So,
yes, we've been working on this for the last 2 years now. So, yeah, last year we ran a pilot with Sustainability Victoria where we tested out a few of the scan copy tech, and we've been iterating different versions of this for the last few years. Last few months, we've been beta testing with over like 50 users, different categories and of users as well. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Pretty much for a lot of them, they're like, oh, why hasn't this existed yet? So, yeah.
And one question, Adam, final question.
Hi, thank you. Brilliant pitch and commendable you're looking at the reusability, refill space, it's great. Do you have enough refill partners to make your platform viable? There's obviously limited products on shelf that can be refilled at the moment. We hope to see a lot more, 25 times I think was your number, but is there enough?
Yeah, so for example, one of our first refill partners, they offer like a wide variety of goods. So there is a wide range of shop that they can do. But again, we're at the point where we are onboarding more people, and we are also just expanding people's idea of what refill means. Because if packaging is going directly to people's homes, then the constraints of food preservation on the supermarket shelf for a long period of time is less. I mean, you just need it to last for less, and also that the way that packaging communicates is now on the digital form. So that opens more things. We use the Makona jar as an example, but coffee can already be considered a refill, tea as well, even powdered drinks. That's just to begin with. So we're in the process of expanding our product categories.
Round of applause for Zero Tag, Shimroth and Joseph. Our final pitch today is edible cutlery, and it's my pleasure to welcome to the stage the Managing Director of Edible cutlery, Abhinav Nagaraj. Please welcome Abhinav.
I was sitting there wondering why we are the last pitch. Then I realized the chocolate dessert spoons are always saved towards the end. So, what's common between dinosaurs and plastic cutlery? They're both dead and gone. What are we replacing them with? Bamboo and paper cutlery that are still causing waste. They get soggy too quick. They cause splinters, and now research shows they're interfering with your food and drink and even causing food toxicity in certain instances. And still it doesn't solve the problem of 9 billion single-use cutlery reaching our landfills. So if none of these, then what? The future of cutlery is here, and it's delicious. It's functional exactly like any disposable cutlery. It's plant-based, it's nut-free, and it can be composted in your gardens within 7 days. So we often say this, use it as a cutlery and then eat it, because when we say edible cutlery, since it looks like a biscuit, probably tastes like one. We have some samples at our table. People tend to eat it, but always use it as a cutlery first. We are Australia's largest range of edible cutlery, with all of that you see on your screen, with everything coming in flavored and unflavored range. Our products have 12-month shelf life, which is soon to be increased, 20 to 60 minutes depending on the food of temperature of food and drinks. We have gluten-free range launching later this year, and near shelf life product can be used as animal feed, so there is no food waste within our supply chain. Edible cutlery solves different problems for different industries. It's a game changer for industries like prisons and correctional facilities, where self-harm is a massive thing, and flights and cruises where waste management is really problematic. Neurodivergent community who cannot use tableware or disposable cutlery, edible cutlery again solves the problem for them. With meat, wine, and fresh food, we have started pilots thanks to these challenges, which I'd love to talk as case studies when you meet me at my table. To talk more about the team, having worked at Google and Reddit managing millions of dollars in advertising, we have worked with 40 plus sustainable brands in Australia as consultants before starting our own. We have inventors in our teams, ex-food startups with successful exits. All of us wouldn't have hung out if not for our passion for sustainability. So our team is competing with other teams, the bamboo ones, who are our indirect competitors. Good Eddie is our biggest competitor because they make edible cups in Melbourne. Use and Eat was our biggest competitor, and we acquired them and joined hands. It's a massive market. We're creating a category between $23 billion disposable and $63 billion tableware, and we are replacing these two as applicable. And in terms of our business, we are mainly targeting medium and large businesses. So the lifetime value is quite high, which is 3 to 4 years, leading to $200K per target customer, with a healthy gross profit of 40%. Our customer acquisition cost is very low, thanks to the novelty of the product as well as how uniquely it fits in and solves problems. So as a result, our CAC to lifetime ratio is very, very high. That is, for every marketing dollar we are putting in so far, that's our return, and that's what the funds will be used if we were to win. How do we sell our products? Through our own e-commerce website, wholesaling through distributors, and we'd love to onboard more retail. That will be our ask. In our very short journey, 16 months since incorporation, we have prevented 240,000 cutlery from reaching our landfills. We are across major online marketplaces and select retail. We have piloted with 10 plus national and global brands just in the last 4 months. These are some of the brands you may recognize. These brands have decided to support us. So who among you are ready to introduce us to more stockists and join us in envisioning a world where the only thing that gets left behind is a smile on your face? This is Abhinav signing off.
Good pitch, Abhinav, good pitch. One question from the judges, Alicia.
Hi, great pitch. I just wanted to understand if you've actually considered event venues now that are actually putting in biodigesters or commercial composting units in those facilities. And have you trialled it? And have you ever thought about considering partnering with any of those businesses as well?
To be honest, like so far we haven't, but we'll be open to such opportunities. And we've only been in the market in the last 4 months. So we're certainly open to such opportunities.
Yeah, there's another company in the US called Incredible Eats.
So that's our sister company.
All
We
right.
co-own each other.
Okay. Because one of their biggest issues is the unit economics on each spoon versus plastic. How are you going to solve that problem to ensure scaling, especially with your CAC being at 260?
Economies of scale will certainly help. So let's say if we were to get onto Coles, wink, wink, we will certainly reduce our cost price or even the selling price by at least 50% due to such large volumes. Because the production is set up in such a way that most of the costs are being added just due to our volumes. Current volumes are very low. But if the volumes were to be high, the cost price and the selling price will come down significantly. We will never be as close to as a plastic or a bamboo cutlery, but something very close. And because we solve the problems none of the others are doing, I think we are giving that added benefit to make up for the cost.
Another round of applause for edible cutlery. Thank you, Abhinav. I think a lot of our pitches today and the finalists have really addressed those industry problems that we highlighted at the start. So I just want a final round of applause for all the 8 pitches and the finalists today. Thank you. So now we'll be taking a 25-minute break. We'll be back at 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time if you're joining us online. A reminder for those participating or joining us online today, stay close to your screen for the live Q&A discussion between Shay Courtney and Joe Palmer on all the finalist pitches and the challenges we're addressing today. And we look forward to seeing everyone back here in 25 minutes at 5 p.m. for the judges' final decision. Thank you. So I just want to let everyone know, joining us live today, there's refreshments, there's wine and a few refreshments over here. Please help yourself. Network with some of the pitchers and contestants today and each other.
Hello, Shay. Welcome back.
Hi, Joe. Wow, I was so impressed to hear from the various teams across the board. I thought it was a fantastic and quite inspiring series of presentations.
So good. All right. Well, my name's Joe Palmer. I haven't got to introduce myself yet. So I'm the Director of Innovation Programs at Charles Sturt University. And I'm really pleased that we get to do this rather than everyone roaming off into the cyber wilderness in the break time, that we get to have a bit further of a chat. Well, one, do you want to kick off? Is there any of the pitches that you wanted to actually touch on? The ones, look, it might be specific to obviously where your world sits, but is there any sort of thoughts that you want to give on the pitches through so far?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I was particularly impressed with Earthodic. I think that was really, particularly impressive, where you could recycle, fully recyclable at home, fully compostable at home. So that certainly was very interesting to me. I think you'll have some wherever you create a seal, whether that's a closure or be it a cork or screw cap or a barrier, the challenges really there are very much to ensure that it continues to maintain its integrity. So that's the shelf life component that we talk about. and glass, some of those traditional packaging materials are very good at that, glass in particular. But I'd be interested to see how the sort of shelf life piece is maintained across a number of the concepts today.
I guess I was quite interested to get your thoughts on a product such as Pacamama. So like very much disrupting a very traditional industry of wine and wine bottles and glass bottles. I know that it was such a big thing to move from cork to screw caps for so many people. And now I find quite often when I get a bottle of wine with a cork, I'm like, oh, I've actually got to deal with this cork now. You get so used to dealing with a twist top on them. But how do you sort of envisage industries that are quite traditional like that to uptake, I guess, in like a wine bottle that is a different shape, a different product? Like, how does that sort of look in your world?
I think it's a real challenge, and we know that that a lot of wine drinkers are quite traditional, and they enjoy drinking a product out of glass, and that can be very challenging to transition those consumers onto different packaging types. So we've obviously heard from Pacamama, but we've also seen various attempts at wine in other formats, and we have a proud heritage here. It was Angove, family winemakers, who championed and were the first to bring the bag in box, the cask wine to market. And still, if you look at that by volume, that makes up as 40% in the mid to late 80s. It's still 20% of the industry by volume. So it's certainly possible, and we're seeing somewhat of a resurgence in cask wine. I think reflective of the economic environment in part, but we're also seeing that a lot of wine drinkers want to have a glass or two, and they don't want to open a whole bottle of wine. And one of the major benefits of cask is that you can go back and the quality of the product is retained for many weeks. So I think there are some very interesting packaging formats that are coming to market. Some of them are coming full circle, and cask is certainly one of them. And I think there are a number of customers tell us that they love drinking wine out of glass bottles. They tend to associate glass, and particularly heavyweight glass, with quality. So there's a direct link there, and some consumers still associate cork closures with quality as well. So some of those sort of some of those views, some of those sort of preferences take a long time to transition over. But we also know that consumers and our customers tell us this consistently, that they're looking for innovation. So you have a number of different customer types, and we know that our customers come to us because we offer innovative products at a great price, and that will always be an important part of our range.
So going back to your, like you talked about briefly at the start of the session around your targets for net zero and for your bits that you'll want to do with your sustainability goals, and that how much of that is actually your suppliers that need to provide those changes and things there. Can you sort of talk me through how is that change driven? So I'm thinking, so you've got Francois packaging here, so I'm just envisaging meat that's already been, so steaks or whatever that you would find in the supermarket that's got like a tray based with a film over the top. Who needs to drive that change? Is it the producer? Is it the abattoir packing thing? Is it the actual supermarket chain. And the same goes with any of the bottles or the bits and pieces as far as driving that change. Is it like Coles Liquor, who then says, okay, we want to see more of these different sorts of packaging and we will give more shelf space? Like, where did that change actually get driven from, do you think?
I think customers, as in consumers, are driving that change first and foremost. They're telling us what they want to see, and they'll provide us with that guidance. I think fundamentally, in terms of some of the packaging changes that we've made in terms of the national packaging targets, well, those targets are best designed in consultation with industry and manufacturers of packaging are a major part of that. You have to look at what's possible in the market, and market conditions play into that. I think if you look at some of the innovation that has come through in supermarkets and some of the changes that my colleagues on that side of the business have achieved in recent months, you see fresh produce increasingly in fully recyclable packaging. So I'm thinking of particularly citrus fruits that would have traditionally been in soft plastic or various forms of netting. Now the move is towards fully recyclable paperboard based packaging, and that's a major change in fresh produce. For us in liquor, we're quite fortunate that we have a much simpler range of packaging types. The predominant packaging types for us and the materials that are used are glass and aluminium, and that really, two very readily recyclable materials. Yes, we have. If you look at cask, then you've got the cardboard box and the soft plastic bag, what we call the bladder. But essentially, the majority of product is already readily recyclable.
So with those sort of changes that are getting driven from those consumer asks and what they're sort of demanding from the purchasing power, I guess, that they have as an individual, how do you find that you can, like, say with Coles Liquor, how are you actually interacting with startups like these guys that are pitching today? Like, is that stuff that you can sort of interact with companies like these ones directly to sort of build relationships with suppliers and those sorts of things? Like, do you see that that's a role that you guys play, or have you played in that space at all?
Absolutely.
Previously?
So each year we, as a business, have the Nurture Fund, which is designed to provide grant funding to businesses that look at really more sustainable ways of doing business. So we've just closed our most recent round. We'll announce those winners soon if they're not already announced. But pleasingly, that allows for businesses of all sizes, and startups are included in that, to propose to us great ideas for products that will shift the dial in sustainability. So that's certainly an area where startups can work with us. Clearly, there's an opportunity for startups to work with us through our conventional channels and pitching business through our category opportunities, and we do work with many small businesses right across the board. In fact, we have 8,000 suppliers right across our business, and if you looked at those, there are a good number of those that are very, very small businesses. So I think if you want to look at how we work with startups, I think it's really, we're always open to great ideas, and great ideas will carry themselves in a discussion with a business like ours. And so we encourage all startups with great ideas, many of which we've heard this afternoon, to get in touch and to work with us. And we will always provide, we pride ourselves on working closely and in partnership with our suppliers. And to do that, that means that we will provide honest feedback on ideas. And what suppliers tell us is that even if their concept isn't successful this time around, they appreciate the honesty that we provide them. We always provide them with constructive feedback, and they are our most important stakeholder. So I would say get in touch. If you've got a great idea and you want to pitch it to us, we're always here to listen to those ideas.
That's really interesting. So say, for example, Pacamama doesn't have to go and find 10 different vineyards that are willing to put the wine in the bottle to then be able to pitch it to Coles Liquor. Is that something that they can actually take that like packaging concept to you, and you can help with that sort of relationship building and stuff as well?
The benefit of working with us is that we have a huge private label and exclusive liquor brand portfolio. So we can work with our suppliers. They can be wineries, packaging suppliers, right across the board, and we can look at making a product together that works for where we want to go commercially. So yes, the offer is very much, the invitation is very much on the table to get in touch with me. If you've got a great idea, we want to hear from you. And we do that in conjunction with our colleagues across category who are very much at the forefront of what works in the marketplace. And our commitment to people who get in touch with us is that we will provide constructive feedback that helps everyone improve, but it also might be something that we want to range in our stores. So there's a good opportunity for us to work together, and we always want to hear from companies and individuals with great ideas.
So you've got a pretty audacious goal of your 2050 sort of timeline as far as things. What are some big changes that you guys are going to have to make in order to hit your targets, your 2050 targets?
I think it's actually working in partnership with our suppliers. So we've already got an ambitious solar and battery program across our supermarkets and our liquor stores, which will help us get to 100% renewable energy by 2025. So that is already well advanced. That decarbonisation piece, which is one of the key components of the criteria that we discussed this afternoon, alongside the value proposition. The decarbonisation piece is arguably the most challenging for business, and really there's a direct correlation between carbon and cost, and where you can take carbon out of your business, you will in the long run take cost out of your business, and that's that can be very challenging, and I think that's where the challenge really is, where you see such a high proportion of retailers' emissions with their suppliers. That really goes to the challenge of reaching net zero. So we have to work in partnership with our suppliers to help them reduce their carbon footprint, and we do that in a variety of ways. It might be technology that we help them introduce. It might be guidance in terms of how we can share knowledge to help them in turn reduce their carbon footprint. But I think it's also interesting, if you look at what international retailers are doing in the UK and in Europe, a lot of net zero ambitions are pretty advanced, and so they're already having to work. If they're selling their products, particularly to Europe, they're already having to work hard to reduce their carbon footprint. So, but there's lots of domestic suppliers that we work with who don't sell any product. They sell either just to us, or they sell to a limited number of customers in Australia. And so we need to work closely with them to help them achieve their best, so that in turn we can achieve our targets. And that is a challenge, but it's one that we want to work very closely with our suppliers to achieve.
I'm also always intrigued with the concept of logistics in the mix with this as well. Like in Australia, we've got the tyranny of distance is such a big thing for us moving products around the country. How does Coles influence sort of tightening up of that sort of sustainability piece around logistics? Is that something that you sort of include as your stakeholders in there? Is that like the trucking, the getting stuff from A to B around the country?
I think it's supply chain. I think it's supply chain optimization. It offers the greatest opportunity there in the medium term, in the short to medium term. We're not really there. We are seeing some progress with battery and alternative fuel, hydrogen trucks and things like that. But it's not really where it needs to be for adoption across the board. And countries that have far less sort of geographic challenges are still finding it difficult to introduce a zero carbon logistics framework. So for us, it's supply chain optimization. So it's working with our largest suppliers to ensure that we look at route optimization. We look at how that works with our distribution centers. Right around the country, we've got a number of significant distribution centers, and how that works in conjunction with demand planning to ensure that the stock is in the right place at the right time. And some of the challenges, particularly around peak periods, so particularly Christmas, Easter, is that you'll find that across the board, stock will move between distribution centres in order to meet demand. Or in some instances, we will have suppliers, and we work very closely with Lion on an approach to change the way that product is supplied to Coles Liquor. So previously, Lion would send its product direct to our stores. For the most part now, that product is sent direct to our distribution centres, which saves a significant amount of CO2 each year. It also optimises our supply so that we can ensure that we have the right amount of stock in the right places and more often. And it also reduces the amount of disruption at the store level through the number of deliveries, by reducing the number of deliveries per day. So our store team members can focus on the value-added work that they carry out for us with our customers every day.
That's really interesting. I'm just thinking, while you're sort of talking about that, sort of bringing back into startup world, like with the themes of today, and I'm just sort of thinking around you're really encouraging that interaction with startups and innovators and things to work with you directly. Can you tell us about some of the products or things that have come through your programs that you've actually put into play that we would see and notice and be like, oh, okay, when you're actually in a store, that we'd be able to recognize that it's come through that process?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're very lucky in Australia to have a terrific craft brewing industry. And so everyone has seen the explosion in the amount, the range, the number of of craft beers, the different styles over the last 10 years is phenomenal. And we range many of those, and they're very, very popular indeed. So I think if you look at how we work with small business, we work with a number of microbreweries right around the country, and they have often been some of the most innovative from a sustainability perspective. So we know that some of those microbreweries use bread that can no longer be sold in our supermarkets, and they turn it into bread beer. They collect fruit that can no longer be sold and turn it into a beer product. And I think that gives you an idea, that gives you a flavour of the opportunity to work to reduce waste and also produce a product that's commercially viable. So I think look at the craft beer category as a real area of innovation that continues to do very well. I would also look at many of these smaller wine producers who are beginning to really embrace sustainable certification. So I think that's coming through, particularly biodynamic wine, which is really taking its cues from Europe, particularly from France. And then I think if you look at some of the smaller spirits producers, you're seeing that some of those are very successful in creating very popular no and low alcohol alternatives, which is a challenge for the spirits sector. And so that's coming through. There's a nice synergy there between good for you and good for the planet. And I think that's a bit of an area to watch. I'd also say that there is always a challenge insofar as the customers we serve everyone, and our customer profile is very, very broad indeed. So we have to look at what meets market expectations and exceeds market expectations every single day, and range and everyday low pricing will always be at the forefront of what we do. And for our part, building sustainability into that, not necessarily as a unique product or as something outside of the core range that we sell. Really, what we're moving towards is building sustainability into our business as usual. How can we make our private label products more sustainable by redesigning packaging, by reducing the packaging weight, by requiring our packaging suppliers to increase the recycled content incrementally, by reducing elements that are non-recyclable or hard to recycle. So that's across the range. So it is not a dedicated sustainability product. It is building that into our DNA. And I think that's what people expect. They want us, our customers tell us that they want to see more sustainable products. They don't want to be told that that companies are doing it. They just want to see them doing it.
And then you get to lead by example. If you've got that whole sort of internal brand thing, that then the other companies that are supplying in that you have on the shelves next to your products, they then are seeing that it's working, they're seeing that it's selling, that they can then have confidence in making those changes themselves, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And many of those branded products, many of those brand owners are doing great things in their own right. So you're seeing products that have very high recycled content, that have a commitment to net zero that is ahead of ours, that comes far earlier. You're seeing some really interesting work in the wine sector. So you'll see a product, Wise Wolf, on the shelves that has 91% on average recycled content, that has a really compelling sustainability journey from a liquid, from a sourcing perspective, and and I think that gives us an opportunity to look at what is possible. But in the current environment, we really should be looking at how can we build some of these great ideas into the way we do business. And I think that's the most compelling part for a business like ours. How can we look at the changes we make in private label wine? Really, that's very similar to making changes right across fresh produce. If we're making a change across a certain citrus product, we might make the change right across the board. So and that takes us to a part where we would really be building that into what our customers expect every day.
We're getting the wrap up, Shay. It's so fascinating hearing your take on a whole range of aspects of today. So thank you so much for your time.
That's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Live in the room here. I hope everybody filled up their wine glasses, beer glasses, soft drink, and had something to eat. For those online, I hope the chat was a really exciting experience, and thank you so much for staying around. I know we're a little bit over time, so we're not going to take too long in wrapping up. But I do just want to thank first and foremost the 8 teams. Fantastic presentations. A huge leap forward from where they were in the discovery phase 3 months ago to where they are today. So maybe just a quick round of applause for all of our 8 teams. Really great to see them. And most importantly, a thanks to our sponsors and our supporters of the program, MLA, Wine Australia, Planet Ark, from Shay at Coles and Coles Liquor, Endeavour Wines, Unpack, Boomerang Labs and APCO, and importantly to the growth drivers for putting the event together, and to all of our teams in AgriPark and the technical teams and our CSU colleagues that are with us today. That's just been a fantastic event, culminating in today's announcement. And I think if we're ready on the screen, we're going to announce the runner-up who came in. Very, very close judging conversation. And so really want to thank everybody and the judges for their decisions today. And in third place, we have... It's not on the slides. So, Orthotic. Okay, is Orthotic joining us on? Yep, come up onto the stage. It's hard to remember who is here and who's online. So, congratulations, well done as a runner-up. Excellent presentation, and the team are going to be working with you ongoing. Okay, thank you. Now, as we like to do at Charles Sturt University, we like to throw a few cat amongst the pigeons. And for today's event, we actually have 2 joint winners. Very hard to separate these 2 teams. And although we actually think there's probably a really good opportunity for those two teams to be talking a little bit more as well, which is one of the things we'll explore. So for our winners today, Pachamama and Pack to Earth. Pack to Earth being online and Pachamama here on the stage, trying to encourage his colleague to come up as well. Congratulations, well done.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful news, and we would love to talk to Pachamama about how we could work together. It does seem like there's a clear synergy there. Thank you so much.
No, thank you very much, and thank you very much to our winners. One of the great things that we do get to do in building out our prize pool is we're going to be working with the winners around the funding mechanisms that we're putting in place to help them expedite and fast-track the development of their technologies. But we've also had such a really great journey here with all of our teams that we've also decided to have a small portion of the pool that we're going to work with all of the remaining teams that weren't winners today, and actually help with the growth drivers to build out your roadmaps and pathways forward, and provide some incentive and funding and services support to all of the teams who participated as well. And I think that's a great outcome. So again, to all of the other teams, you don't go away empty-handed. It's really important. We saw some really great opportunities, and the feedback from the judges panel was fantastic across the board, all on very different journeys and different pathways, but all ultimately working towards solving what the sustainable packaging future of our industry in Australia and globally looks like. So well done to all of the teams. We are going to close out the event. I again want to thank all of those people online for joining us, and for those that have travelled from interstate, from those that are in the local region and travelled to Wagga. Thank you very much. Enjoy the nice cool evening that we're going to have tonight. If you're located here in the room, we continue on with drinks and networking afterwards. And obviously we're going to be undertaking some photo opportunities with the winners and their prizes, and the large scale cheque that gets brought out at all of these occasions. So once again, to our judges panel, I would ask Mark if you could come up and hand out the gifts to our judges panel as a final farewell to the event tonight. Yeah, might hand them out down there. So we draw the event to a close. For those online, thank you. Good evening. For those in the room, I hope you enjoyed the event. Please stay around for networking and drive safe and take care. Thank you.